Hello, everyone, and welcome to the conversation. I am your host, Andrea B. Flintroy, and I am so happy to have you all to join us on this evening. It's a wonderful and amazing that I bring you a guest that is real, relevant, and relatable. The conversation is a space where we have open and transparent discussions. And I would like to welcome you all again to the conversation. Now, if you are not a part of the conversation community, you can definitely become a part of the community by three ways: by liking, sharing, or making a comment. And if we are not connected, if you are not connected to me, go ahead and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And again, if you are watching from YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So, but again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for listening. So, without any further ado, I would like to welcome my guest, LaRon Burns, to the conversation.
Hey.
Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. Thank you so much for being here. So, if you don't mind telling the people a little bit about you, and I'm going to slide out a little bit.
Well, thank you first and foremost for allowing me to enter into your space. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to share this platform with an individual who desires to impact our world in a positive way. I'm all about that. So I'm happy to be here. As you stated, my name is LaRon D. Burns Sr. I live in Dallas, Texas. I am a philanthropist, a business owner, a Navy veteran. I'm a father. I'm actually currently in school working on a dual master's PhD in psychology. 51 years old with a plethora of life experience, and God is my source. So that's me. Uh-oh, I lost you. I can't hear you.
Look, you know what? I always do that every time. Put myself on mute. Thank you.
Oh
But
my
I know
God.
I was saying you threw out that age, and you do not look 51, may I add, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. That's genetics, genes, I guess.
But again, thank you so much for just joining the conversation, for accepting the call to be on the show. I know that I've had the pleasure of meeting you, and you're just such an awesome and wonderful person. So again, I just thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
But so, can you give the community just a fun fact about you? What is something fun about you? Something that some people might not know.
Oh my God. I don't know. What's fun? I love long drives. It may not be fun to the people, but for me, it is so cool to like see the God's creation. Like, it's peaceful for me.
Mm-hmm.
I love long drives. I love a good glass of red wine and a good book. And I love conversations. I love conversing with people. Like, I am the one that's like, hey, what's your name? Where you from? So tell me about your life. Tell me about everything. Like, I love connectivity.
Yes. So as my grandmother would say, you don't meet a stranger.
I don't. I never have. Never have. I mean, and that's fun to me. Like, meeting positive people that you can bounce love and energy off of. Back in the day, I used to love roller coasters and all that kind of stuff. But today, anything that makes my head go like this, I can't do it. I can't do it. So,
Look, you are definitely braver than me because I can't do no roller coasters. Like,
oh wow, wow,
no, me
not
and
at all,
heights.
huh? Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, I'm out.
Oh,
I
I
will. I
just,
will watch you, and I will be like,
oh
"Yay!"
wow. I do have something fun that I like to do. I
What's
love to
that?
cook and sing, and the music I act like I'm the one in the studio or performing at a concert while I'm cooking, and it makes the food come out better.
Right.
I know people pass by and like, what is that guy doing in there? And I open up all of my windows and blinds so people can see me.
Okay. Okay, community. So y'all heard it here first. That with his singing, his food turns out better.
Turns out better. It does. It does. Mm-hmm.
So quickly, I want to give out some shout outs. So I definitely want to say hello to my mother, Simona. Today is her birthday. So if we can give her a happy happy
Happy
birthday, mom.
birthday to you.
Yes, today is her birthday. And hello, Gwen. Thank you so much for joining the conversation again. I want to welcome everybody to the conversation where we're going to have open, candid discussions, and we are just going to sit here and just talk about the different things that might happen in our life, on our journeys. And definitely, Mr. Burns is going to tell us, some things about him and also about being our authentic true selves. So, Mr. Burns. So first, Mr. Burns, though, I do want to know, how did you come into your career? So give us a little bit about your career and your background.
Wow. I knew you were going to ask this question. It's such an interesting, like, I didn't grow up thinking that I would be a hairstylist. I never like it wasn't in the plan. My high school journal that they gave us to put down what you would be when you grew up, it was to graduate from the West Point Naval Academy, be a lawyer, a lobbyist, or a choreographer. Yeah, that's what I wanted to
Really?
be when I grew up. So I, in turn, went into the Navy. I waited too late for the graduation time to line up with going to West Point. So I decided I'd go into the Navy and then go to West Point. And once I got in the Navy, I did my term of service and realized that it wasn't for me. And I came home and did a plethora of things. And one day, someone took me to a hair show, and I heard a platform artist speak about the flexibility, the income, the creativity, and I thought, this sounds cool. Maybe I could do it. And I enrolled in school. Teachers asked me, "Had you ever done this before? You seem like a natural." No, I'd never done it before. And here I am, 27 years later, as a
Oh,
business owner,
wow.
an educator, platform artist, celebrity stylist, create my own products, and it's just been good to me, and I've been good to it.
Awesome. That is
So
so
I don't.
wonderful.
It just kind of just magically happened.
Hmm.
It wasn't in the plan.
Okay. So how long have you
Mhm.
been in the field? How long have you been in the career?
27 years. I think 28, 27 or 28 years.
Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. Oh yeah.
I
So you've
started
seen
when
a
I was about,
lot of, you probably met a lot of people, been a lot of places.
I've been a lot of places. I met a lot of people. I've seen a lot of things, a lot of changes, a lot of
Mm, that's
industry
right.
norms become not so normal,
Hmm.
and trends that are here, gone, back, all that. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh wow. Oh
Mhm.
wow. Okay. Well, you know what? Well, we're glad that you are definitely in the career that you can help our community with our hair.
Yes. 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 It's actually it's probably like three pronged. Hair is, of course, what
Hmm.
brings the person in the door, but you get to
Okay.
touch the mind. You get to heal their soul. You get
Hmm.
to contribute to their wellness and self care. So I'm
Mm.
sure because I am a natural caregiver, that's
Mhm.
probably another thing that pulled me in and has sustained me because in the chair, from behind the chair, you get to
Okay.
be a minister, a lawyer, a doctor, you name it. It encompasses so many parts of healing the soul. So that's what keeps me there. How I got
Mhm.
there was, I don't know, but it's good.
Mhm.
It's good
So
to
now,
help others care.
so since you've been there, so I heard you said that you get to touch so many parts of a person, their wellness,
Hmm.
self-care,
Hmm.
helping them balance a lot of
Hmm.
things
Hmm.
within themselves.
Hmm. Hmm.
So how did that help you where you were at that time when you came into, like, I guess want to say, like, maybe I know you said that you got into the career, kind of stumbled into the career. But once you got
Hmm.
into it and you saw the fullness of it, of being able
Hmm.
to touch a person in so many different areas,
Hmm.
how was that for you when you were able to see all that?
It was amazing.
Mm,
It felt like God ordained,
yeah,
but it also felt like training of some sort after a period of time.
really.
I was like, I think this was a setup. This was a divine setup to establish the counselor motivator in me. Yeah.
Mm.
And to teach me time management because God knows prior to this I was horrible. And that took some years to work out. It didn't happen overnight. And that's one of the reasons
Mhm.
why Navy didn't work for me because I am not a morning person. I am totally nocturnal, and have become because man don't work, you don't eat, so I got to work.
Yes.
So yeah, it was. I feel like it's been training. I feel like it's been
Mhm.
complete training for me, and um, it you can't help but feel a sense of purpose or feel a need to contribute when a person
Mhm.
is in your chair and you're standing behind that chair. I get to see your face. I get to see the inner parts of your soul, and it's a
Yes.
vulnerability and a mutual exchange of energy. I can't do anything but give,
Mm.
to some sort of balance. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
it's
Oh,
from the heart.
wow.
It comes from the heart.
Okay. So I know you're
Hmm.
telling us about, about who we are and us being our authentic selves. So can you
Hmm.
give us more about on the self-care? Like what type of, I know being in the profession that you're in, the type of
Hmm.
self-care that you have seen or the different stresses that you've seen people go through, what type of self-care would you say that we need to start incorporating in our lives to
Hmm.
help us to be able to manage our stresses and different things that we go through?
Well, what I see and what I've seen
Mhm.
is a lack of self care.
Mm.
And one of the things that men and women do is to come in and cut, color, or change their hair to so they think help them face or deal with the world,
Okay.
but it's deeper than that. So they're changing things externally, but they're not dealing with the internal. So,
Mm.
what my job is, or what I suggest for self care, is to start within to recenter, reestablish, and get some balance. And when you do that,
Mhm.
that looks like starting out in the morning with renewing your mind, knowing
Mhm.
what you need for the day. What that looks like is understanding your purpose. What that looks like is having a plan. And when you have those plans, then you know what you need and what you lack. So some people need massages. Some people need to go to the gym. Some people need to go running. Some people need to go walking. Some people need to meditate.
Mhm.
But you have to have balance to understand what those needs are because the world is constantly draining, constantly taking away. So I get to individually stand behind the chair, listen to the individual, and find
Mhm.
out what they need And then I offer, suggest self-care things that will help them along the way. Sometimes it's just
Mm.
setting the right mood, setting the right environment at home. Like, I know one of my clients, she just launched a business where she sets your home or business environment that is conducive to um, wellness and balance in your
Yeah.
space. Like, you need some people need appropriate lighting. Some people
Wow.
need, water sounds, or it has to look and feel like what you're encountering. It's a setup.
Mm.
It's a setup.
You know what? I've never it it's so I guess like it's like a an aha, almost like an aha
Mhm,
moment because I
mhm,
never would have thought that you have to create the setup
mhm,
for the self-care within the
mhm.
home. Like you said,
Yeah,
sometimes it's with changing the lighting, sometimes it's
yeah,
with maybe low vibrational tones in the home,
yeah,
the
yeah,
water music, the water, listening to the water, or the
yeah.
music. I never would have thought that you have to build that soothing
Environment. Yeah,
environment in your home.
yeah. The colors in your space. I
Mm,
just heard my sister-in-law say the other day she needed to change her comforters for the season so that she could feel the season. It's
mm.
important. It's important to set that environment, make it conducive to what you want to feel. Getting up in the morning, opening up the blinds, making your bed so that it looks like that what you want to feel. You know,
Yes,
you
yes.
can't have your space be a mess and think that you won't be a mess.
Ooh, drop.
Yeah,
You
that's
just
like
dropped
having
something.
six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. It's the
Yeah,
same. Mm-hmm.
that is so
Mm-hmm.
good. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make our space look how we want to feel. So,
Yes.
like you said, making
Yes.
the bed and simple things of just opening up the blinds, making up
Yeah.
your bed. It
Yeah.
definitely it prepares and it's in
Mhm.
preparation for the mood in which you are
Attempting to
um
connect with, establish.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's
Exactly.
self-care. That's self-care. You're putting yourself first and you're caring for it. And I hear that and I always just repeat back to my clients what
Mhm.
they usually tell me what they're missing and what they're lacking and what's frustrating them. And I get to be a source to go, do you hear what you're saying? You know?
Mhm.
So it's important. As well as them being in the salon is a part of it, but the well-being, it's a in its totality, it requires your entirety to be balanced,
Mm.
you know?
So
Hmm.
it's not one area for us to focus in, but we have to look at the wholeness of everything
Yes,
so we can have that
yes,
perfect balance. So we can
yeah,
have that perfect recentering and realigning
yes,
ourselves for that perfect
yes,
balance.
yes. And that way you walk out, say you start out in the morning that way. When you walk out that door, you are ready, you are prepared, and
Mhm.
you have established yourself and you have some countenance so that when you're calibrated, your mind, your heart, and your soul. So no matter what, if it's an attack, if it's an unforeseen event that is negative, you've
Mhm.
cared for yourself, so you know how to handle it when it approaches you.
Yeah.
Because you never know what could happen from day to day.
And that's right. I mean,
We
you're absolutely right.
mhm,
That's good. So
mhm,
again, for anyone who is just now joining the show, Mr. LaRon Burns is telling us about, the balance that we need to have within our lives, realigning ourselves, being recentered for that balance that we need. And also, he's telling us more about that self care that we need to have also. And
mhm,
he's giving really, really good nuggets and just really telling us again about who we are. I
mhm,
know before the show, he was saying, we're getting close to the end of the year. So how do we
mhm,
want that to look? So,
mhm.
LaRon, tell us more about, we're at the end of the year, we're in the last month, and how would we, or how should we want this to look, or what are some things that we should consider? What are some things that we should consider at the end of this year, going into next year?
Good question. Good question. Oftentimes people start compiling vision boards, and I think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they get together and they start their resolutions. But to add to that, I think is it's reassessment season. Like,
Mm-hmm.
look at the year in its totality, starting on the inside. Are you
Mm-hmm.
centered? Are you focused? What distractions do you have or did you have? What dominated your thoughts? Because what we do know and what I've learned to be tried and true, what dominates your thoughts is what you become. What dominates your thoughts is what you do. So you could have 37 goals, but if your thoughts are not in an alignment with what you want to do, it typically doesn't happen. You cannot want to be rich, but have 37 incompatible thoughts with being rich.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an assessment of because what we take in is it inevitably comes out. So I think it's reassessment time. The next 30 days, because today is the first and we have 31 days in this month. One of the best ways to find out who you are so that you can maintain it or become that for 2022 is to reassess who you are not and get throw out the garbage, throw out the incompatible thoughts, throw out the incompatible ideas, and the people who are not congruent with the direction that you want to go in. Bye bye.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So what dominates your thoughts dominates you. So that is
Yeah.
definitely a good point, and you're absolutely right about that. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to be mindful of what we
Mm-hmm.
think, because
Mm-hmm.
our thoughts are connected to our actions, as well as our
Yes.
feelings. Our thoughts and our feelings are connected to our actions. So if we want to make
Mm-hmm.
a change in what we're thinking,
Mm-hmm.
or make a change in our feelings, or like I say, make a change in our feelings or making a change in our thoughts, then we have to change it at the time that we think it, so that our
Mm-hmm.
behaviors will look differently.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
That's
absolutely
true.
right. You're like, mm-hmm. And I like when you said what we take in comes out through our actions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or it becomes a mindset. So,
Mm,
if you want to set the tone for a new year, new things, new
mm-hmm,
purpose, you have to be careful what you take in. You have to be very careful what you
mm,
take in. And that's,
mm,
so most of us have to focus on what boundaries we need to set for 2022. But all that is, again, is an assessment of yourself, you know?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you're talking about boundaries. What should our boundaries look like? Like, how do we implement these
Mm-hmm.
boundaries? Because I know also, another good, and just kind of throw out a resource. I can't even think
Mm-hmm.
of the book, but Dr. Nedra Tawwap has a book out,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't think of the name of the book now, but I
Mm-hmm.
know it's about boundaries. And
Mm-hmm.
so, how do we set up our boundaries, or how do we notice if we need to set a boundary?
Hmm. Boundaries are so important.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the best ways to for one, see if you need boundaries is to take an assessment of your year. Let's just
Mm-hmm.
go with 2021. Did you meet your goals? Did you stay focused? Did you meet any obstacles? And then if you can answer those, you can find out what were the obstacles, what were the
Mm-hmm.
distractions, and then you can there establish a plan of attack so that those things don't happen again. Was it your finances? Was it family? Was it relationships? All of those things can create wreak havoc in your life if there's no balance. And if
Mm.
there is no balance and those things bring in chaos, confusion, or divide you, then you need to set up a boundary and
Yeah.
be honest with yourself. First and foremost, to thine own self be true.
Mm.
Does this work for me? Is this working for me? And if the answer is no, does it cause me harm? Does it cause me confusion? Does it set me back? Does it disrupt my mental stability? If you answer yes to any of those questions, then you need to set a boundary. And what that looks like is, for example, one of the boundaries that I have set is I don't I oftentimes, more often than not, I get phone calls from people that are extremely negative before noon. From sun up to noon, I
Mm,
cannot. Because if I take that in before my day starts, 9 times out of 10, that's how my day is going to be. So I
mhm,
set my phone on do not disturb from certain individuals until afternoon. That's a boundary that I have. I cannot talk to this individual because it would set the tone of my day. So that's the boundary that I have. That's just an example. But you gotta take an assessment of self to know what needs a boundary and or who and why and when it needs to happen and how to do it.
mm. That's good right there. I don't know if y'all
Mhm.
were just listening, but definitely we're talking about setting up boundaries and what should a
Mhm.
boundary look like. Thank you so much, Sean Mercy. That's the name of the book. Set boundaries, find peace. Thank you so much.
That's
Um,
good. Good.
but
I have to check
yet
it out.
yeah, it's a really, really good. I mean, she's been talking about it, but also because boundary, and I believe during the pandemic and coming out
Mhm.
of it, we're realizing that we do not have boundaries
Yeah.
and we're
Yeah.
allowing so many things to come in and
Come in.
disrupt
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
disrupt our environment, disrupt
Mhm.
our peace, disrupt
Mhm.
our mindset, like our perspective. Like in the
Mhm.
pandemic, when everything had to cease, we realized what were some of the things that we were focusing on, what was some of the things that we were taking in, some of the
Mhm.
toxic things that we were taking in, that was like I said, shifting our mindset, that was being toxic in our
Yes.
mind. And we realized
Yes.
when some of these people that we did let go, because now I can't get to you, or because I let go a certain job, you realize that the
Yeah.
job or the environment that you were in was toxic. And so,
Right.
like when you said, definitely setting up that boundary, like you said, before noon, certain people,
Yeah.
they don't do not disturb, because you know that that
Right.
sets the tone of your day. I
Yeah.
love that. Like,
Mhm. Mhm. And time management is a good boundary. If you know that being in certain spaces,
mm-hmm,
places, or connected with certain individuals after a certain period of time causes you to be off kilter, then you need to set a
mm-hmm.
boundary in a time frame. I can only be with. I'll use Thanksgiving dinner.
Okay.
Certain family members are highly toxic and negative, and you have to say, okay, I can give these people 1 hour today, or 2 hours. But I love my family. I want to be with them, but I can only be there for 3 hours. After 3 hours, it always starts to. So I'm gonna head out.
Mm.
I'm gonna have grace and mercy for everyone because I understand that which we're dealing with, but I can only be in that space for 2 hours.
That's good.
So that ties into time management.
You are right. That is really, really good. And I definitely agree with that. Because, like you said, even taking that assessment, like you said, first you have to take an assessment. So before you
Mm-hmm.
can even know where to set the boundary at, you have to take that
Mm-hmm.
assessment. But like you said, if you know, like being with certain family members, and sometimes your family members are toxic. Let's just go ahead and put that out there. You know, sometimes we
Yeah.
don't want to say it. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
sometimes we don't want to say it because we don't want
Yeah.
it to really be true. But sometimes some family members are definitely toxic, and we
Yeah.
have to restrict. It's not saying that we have to just get rid of them. They're your family
Mm-hmm.
members. You just
Mm-hmm.
can't get rid
Mm-hmm.
of them,
Right.
but limit your time in which you
Exactly.
spend with them.
Manage that time wisely. Manage that time wisely. Um,
Mm,
you know, and don't acquiesce to whatever it is that they bring. If it's negativity, you don't have to be negative. You can just nod your head and say, "Okay, I hear you.
mhm.
I understand. I can see why you feel that way." That doesn't mean you're in agreement with it. You're just not connecting to it, you know? And
Ooh.
don't have an attachment to it. Don't be attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that is where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so with your time management, you know how much time you can give to that, you know?
I like that. I really like
Mhm.
that. So don't have an attachment to it. So don't take
Mhm.
ownership of somebody else's
Stuff.
situation or
Yeah.
offensive or baggage or stuff, like you said, that they're going
Right.
through, because they're only
Right.
speaking from which
Right.
they see or that they're going through, but it's not meant to be offensive. So don't take an
No.
offense to it. Don't pick it up. Don't take
Mhm.
ownership,
No.
because it's not yours to pick up. Now
It's
you're
not
getting
yours.
frustrated
Yeah.
because you have picked up something nobody asked you to pick up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or you've given it too much time. You're like, okay, uh, okay, cousin, I hear you.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Exit stage left. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
change the narrative. Just go talk to someone else. And here's where one of the four agreements is applicable. Don't take anything personally. I just that one right there. That's not your stuff. That's
Mm.
not your stuff. Hmm. Let negative Auntie Nancy be negative Nancy. You be
Mhm.
positive. Counteract it with positivity. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm. Mhm.
and don't
That
again, and then release the attachment.
yes. Release the attachment. I like that. I like that. That reminds me of excuse me. Um Pastor Todd's sermon. I don't know if you heard his latest sermon, and he's talking about the faith talk.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really talking about us reframing our the way we speak things
Mm-hmm.
into the atmosphere. And he was telling
Mm-hmm.
us, what we create, what we see by what we say.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you say it, because we have to understand that in our mouth we speak life or death. We
Mm-hmm.
have power. We have the authority to speak life or death over any situation, over ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
the way we speak a thing, the way that we say something, our words hold power.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's understanding the power that we hold within our speaking.
Mm-hmm. There's a weight to those words. There's a vibrational tune that goes out
Mhm.
into the atmosphere that has energy that's connected to it that will bring it to you or take it away. So it is imperative. It is like highly necessary to think before you speak. You gotta think. You gotta think like, am I, as you just stated, am I speaking life or am I speaking death?
Mhm.
And how heavy is that word that I'm using?
Mm.
Will this word trigger trauma or cause trauma? Or will it cause a distraction or will it harm not only me, but to those I am communicating with?
Ooh,
Those
that is
consonants and
good.
vowels, those are some powerful things. They didn't just get made for no reason.
Mhm.
you know, there's a definition to those words, and those definitions bring about atmospheric shifts,
Mm.
demonic forces, you know?
That's good. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. So you so you're really just reconfirming and reiterating the power that's in our words, and how that
Yes.
we have the power to shift whatever situation or atmosphere that we're in. And kind of going back
Hmm.
full circle, like you were saying,
Hmm.
that our environment should be conducive to how we want
Hmm.
to our feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. We can calm the storm with our words. We can calm the storm with our thoughts. We can calm the environment with self care and changing everything around us so that it is congruent with wellness.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Oh my
Hmm.
goodness.
Hmm.
You are
Hmm.
that is so right. You're right. I am This is good. This is, I don't know about anybody else, but this is good to me. This is good to me.
Aw,
This is
aw.
this is so good. This is so good.
Yeah, we got to do this
So
again. I'm.
we do.
It's the season.
We
It's
do.
the season. It is the season to help everyone recenter, reestablish themselves, and become balanced. And all of us are capable of doing that. And we should foster more environments like this. Everybody's a
Mhm.
superhero, and we need each other. You know, we really, really need each other to have these positive conversations,
Yes.
i.e., the
Yes.
title of your show, the conversation. We need to have this, not avoid it, hit it head on, you know?
Yes. Yeah, and you're
Mhm.
so right. So you was talking about clearing the chaos. Tell us more about clearing the chaos that we might
Mhm.
have dealing with just some with stress, with
Yeah.
feeling overwhelmed. So talk to us more
Yeah.
about clearing up the chaos.
Chaos, clearing up the chaos, first you have to establish what chaos is. And for some people, it's many different things.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, outside noise. It could be a lack of stability at work. It could be a bad relationship. It could be financial woes. Um, you put all those things into the pot, that's chaos. We're very powerful. God created us to be very powerful beings, and if we operate as what we were created to be, we emit a lot of energy. But if that energy is broken or divided, you now have a chaotic atmosphere. So again, it goes back to assessing oneself,
Mm-hmm.
to align yourself and then tune yourself so that you function in a free environment that allows you to be your best self.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
And what that no, I'm sorry.
no, no, no. Go
What that
ahead. Go ahead.
what that also looks like is starting off the day with your helmet of salvation, your breastplate, you know what I mean, your sword of your spirit, your belt
Mm-hmm.
of truth,
Yes.
your feet put in the
Yes.
word. You cannot walk out that door without your armor because it's chaos out there. It's
Mm-hmm.
chaos out there. You may have set the tone in your home, but outside it's chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
Before you cut that TV on, before you cut the music on, make sure that you're balanced so that you're able to sustain the chaotic environment because that energy
Mm-hmm.
will take you out.
And you're so right, and you are absolutely right, because we have to make sure that we are fully armored before we go out
Mm-hmm.
into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, because we don't know what it is out there that we're going to come up against, or we
Right.
might know that within our home we prepped it and the energy and everything is good, but then we go outside in
Mhm.
the world and we come up against
Darts.
something that we might not even be
Darts.
ready
Yeah.
to fight. Mm-hmm.
Right. 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 Those darts. That's why you need your shield so you can be like, you know,
Mm-hmm. And
gotta
you're
be prepared.
yes,
Because what
yes.
happens is you can't fight chaos with chaos. You can't match energies with chaos. You have to use the Holy Spirit. You have to
Mhm.
use uh, your mind. You have to have the right thought so that you can sustain the attacks or the
Yeah.
environment. Because it's not all personal. The devil ain't thinking about you as an individual. He's thinking about us as a whole. And if
Mhm.
he
We
could
wrestle
divide
not against
you, then
flesh and blood.
he could take you into the environment, divide the whole environment. Yeah.
Mhm. And you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. 'Cause like it says in the word, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the spirits and the principalities of this
Yeah.
world. So these are
Right.
the things that we're coming up against. And so, like you said, and like the community is saying, you got to stay prayed up. You got to make sure you're
Mm-hmm.
prayed up. You got to make sure that you walk out your house fully armored on, so you can be
Mm-hmm.
prepared for the attacks of
Yeah.
of the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You
Mm-hmm.
got to be in your righteous mind.
Yes,
You know
definitely,
that
definitely.
that there's a scripture that talks about how the enemy attacks you. You have to first be bound and tied up. So
Mm,
you have to make sure that the enemy is not, and that comes by division. That comes by chaos, that comes by confusion, and we know that God is not the author of that. That's the enemy. So
mm-hmm.
if you want to be connected, you got to start out your day. You got to take that to bed with you. You got to wake up
Yeah.
with that. You got to take a moment and set up apart some time so you can be set apart. You know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Set some time so you can be set apart. So
Yes.
we should not be conformed of this world. We should be able, people should I like
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Come on,
But
sirs.
people should be able to look upon us and see the Spirit of God on us.
Yes.
Because one thing
Yes.
about it is it's a lifestyle. It is something that we continuously should be walking in and continuously should be
Mhm.
practicing. It's not like an automatic you something, but it is a lifestyle, something that we should be doing every day and
It
continuous
is.
every single day.
Yes.
Because
It is a
and
lifestyle. It's a
and
way of life. Yes.
Yes, because a lot of some people that we might meet may never step inside of a church, and you might be the only person that they meet that talks about God. And so the question is, do they see God on you? What do they
Hmm.
see when they see you? When you
Hmm.
open up your mouth, what are you speaking? What are you saying?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
again, to go back to what we said, we speak
Right.
life or death out of our
Right.
mouth. So what are you
Right.
speaking? What are you saying? When you say good
Right.
morning, how does your good morning sound? When they
Right.
ask you, did you want a cup of coffee? You like, even with that sound, we
Right.
just sit there and we
Right.
said something negative. So they might feel like, well, hold on. I don't
Right.
see the God that you say that you serve over you
Yeah.
by your actions. So not only
Yes.
do my words need to match up, but also my actions need to match my words.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. Yes. Do they see lightness or do they see darkness? Now
Ooh.
we do know that both exist, but are they congruent? You know,
Mm.
so you gotta be 100 all the time, um, so that when you're in environments, you should be stabilizing, not destabilizing the environment. And if it is, you're so balanced that if it does become destabilized, you know how to, what your source is. You know how to get to your source. You know why this is happening. You know when to connect to your source, and you just keep flowing. You know.
Mhm. 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 And you're so right. You're so right. So at times when we might feel that we might feel like we're draining of energy, or like you said, if we sit in a situation and we're not stabilizing the situation, we need to be able
Hmm.
to know how to get to our source
Hmm.
and get
Hmm.
reconnected. So we might feel
Yes.
unplugged. We need to get back
Yeah.
reconnected to who the source
Yes.
is.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mm. This is
Hmm.
good. Again, this is good. This is blessing me on this evening. I don't know about anybody else, but this is definitely a good
Yeah.
word. It's a word for me, and this is blessing me, and it just shows that again the power that we have within the power that we
Hmm.
possess within us, which is the Holy Spirit that is here to guide
Hmm.
us and to lead us and to direct us. It just shows the power that we hold within. And so, like I said again,
Hmm.
this is just so awesome. And so, like you said, what what do we want to end this year off with? And what do we want to begin our new year with? And so I like when you said that we have to reassess, we have to make sure that we realign ourselves, and also that we have to
Hmm.
tone ourselves. So what is it that you
Hmm.
want to end the year with? And what is it that you want to begin the next year with?
Hmm. Hmm. And let that be your guide. For me, uh, I want to end this year with leaving that which is behind me behind me. If it's not for me, then it's against me. If it didn't bring me any goodness, it has to stay. And again, what that looks like is I have to take an assessment, and I have to reflect. And I can't spend too much time there, but I have boards all over my loft of my thoughts, my feelings. What did I do? How did I respond? Distraction. And so when that phone rings and it's one of those distractions, it's one of those, voicemail. You know, if it's a location, I can't go there because that location brings out the worst in me. So that and I do all of that, and I think that we all should do all that. I believe that we all do that so that we could obtain a recourse, so that we don't allow confusion, we don't worry, we don't doubt. So if you take a hold of that self-care, you can take what wasn't for you in 2020 and be congruent with what God has for you in 2021.
Yes.
Change the narrative. Change your perspective. Look internally rather than externally. What's in front of you, it's all good. I would consider 2018, 19, and 20 and 21 the wilderness. It's time to cross over. What's ahead of us, we need to grab a hold of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you
good.
Don't think about it, you don't speak about it, if you don't acknowledge it, you won't be able to change or grow or connect. You have to acknowledge it. That doesn't mean be attached to it. It means acknowledge it, understand it, and move forward.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Yeah. Look, I'm just all in. I'm like, okay, keep going, because this is just so good.
No, we can't keep going. It's almost an hour.
I know, but this is this is just so good. And again, like I say to the community, I hope that this is blessing you. I'm seeing the comments, and I can definitely tell that it is definitely blessing the community, because this word is so profound. This word is so good. And this is definitely the word that we need to hear at the end of the year, going into our new year. So what is it that we want to see for our new year? And again, how do we want to finish out this year? So like like LaRon said, it's some things that he want to leave behind. What was behind me, I can't take with me to my future. I can't take that with me. So when I cross over, when you cross over into 2022, what is it that you want 2022 to look like? Write the vision, make it plain. And when I say plain, I mean be clear about what it is that you want to see.
Yes.
Because again, what we say, as Michael Todd says, what we say creates what we see. So what are the things that you want to see for yourself? So LaRon has told us about, reassessing ourselves. So in the reassessment, we have to be aware. We have to bring a certain awareness about who we are and about the things that we want. Because we can say that we want good things, but if you speaking negative and you're a negative person and the energy that you have, people like, I don't want to be around you because you have this energy of confusion and chaos, and it's too much going on. So the intention that you have is good, but there's no follow through. There is no good energy. There's no order.
Light.
No light. Yes, because there's so much darkness that's over you. So you have to remove and clear out the chaos and clear out the clutter. Because again, like you said, the person that you serve, or I know whom I serve, is not the author of confusion.
No, not at all.
So are you shining light, or are you shining darkness?
Yeah, that's it right there. Because the God that we serve, the God that created us, gives you a bridge to cross over, gives you a pillar of salt if you look back. You take those Right. You take those experiences and you either learn from it or you
Mm-hmm.
toss it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for
We
you
have
or against. And if it's
or
against
against
you,
you.
be tossed.
Let it go.
Yeah.
So we have one of our community members. They ask the question. They say, "I want to move on from my losses, but how do I do that?" So what advice could you give them from being able to move on from their losses? So what are maybe
Mm.
some experiences that you've had that helped you to kind of move on?
See, I tread lightly with saying move on. I would say create
Mm.
a new create a new normal. If what you had, whether it's physical, spiritual, money, job, family, if it was a loss, I would have to assess the value intrinsically and
Mhm.
create a new normal. It either was meant for you to learn from it, um,
Mhm.
take parts from it. Those broken pieces, because I'm sure it
Mhm.
broke you if you lost, were not meant to be discarded. Those pieces were meant to be put together as information so that you could rise and cross over. So
Mm.
see it, have no attachment to it, but see it for what it is and what it was, and then release the attachment. And if you ever need to pick up what you learned or what you felt as a tool, because I'm sure it attaches to some emotions and
Mhm.
feelings, and those are meant. That's our navigation system, like a GPS. You take the logic, and it must outweigh your emotions. Emotions cannot outweigh your logic, or you'll be lost. Come up with a
Mhm.
plan and create a new
Mhm.
normal.
Yes, you know what? I'm with Kim. I definitely like that when you say create a new normal because like you
Mhm.
said, whatever the loss was and the member of the community definitely established what the loss was, the loss of her parents and her fiance.
Oh yeah.
And so and
Oh
you
yeah.
did say that. So at one point in time, that was your norm. And
Yeah.
so when you go into creating a new normal, it's not saying
Mhm.
that, and like you said, don't discard, what
Yeah.
happened because
No.
it did happen. Take it for what it is,
Take it for what it
but
is.
you can create a new normal and
Yeah.
take what is they taught you, what you learned from that situation,
Right.
and you can still move up. I like that.
Right. Because there's so many intrinsic connections to the loss of a family member, from a loss from a marriage. I'll use a family member. My father transitioned 14 years ago, and I struggle with depression. I struggle with the hurt, the pain, anger, and I kept trying to create a life and exclude him. And I had to
Mm-hmm.
realize that I lost a part of me and it went with him. But
Mm-hmm.
then I looked in the mirror and I saw him in my smile. I
Mm-hmm.
sound just like him. So what's the new normal? I carry him with me wherever I go. I can't leave him. He's with me. And a part of me was with him. So the new normal is accepting that I'm connected to him in a new way. And I acknowledge him in everything I do. When people tell me I look like him in the family, I acknowledge it and I accept it and I thank them for that because that lets me know he's still with me in some form, shape, or fashion. And I think it's the same with the spouse because you left home and got married and became one. So there's a division there. So you got to build yourself back up so that you're whole,
Mm-hmm.
not letting go of it. So it's not a loss, it's a transition. Transition into your new
Mm-hmm.
normal. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I don't
Just
know if you
listen.
heard that, but definitely he said it's not a loss there, but transition into your new
Mm-hmm.
normal. That is good.
Mm-hmm.
That is so good. Thank you so much. I don't look, well, thank you so much for helping the members of the TC community. And again, thank you so much for just coming on the show
Mm-hmm. You're
and
welcome.
giving the encouraging words and
You're
sharing your
welcome.
journey and just again just helping us to see
Anytime.
who we are, to reassess, to realign, recenter, and to balance out who we are and taking
Mm-hmm.
account and everything. And I want the community to understand that everything that we've talked about, it goes back to us with our self-care, how we are
Mm-hmm.
taking care of ourselves, and also
Mm-hmm.
our self-love. How do we
Mm-hmm.
love ourselves? How do we see ourselves? And so,
Mm-hmm.
as he spoke about creating that new normal for
Mm-hmm.
us, this is good. This is good. This
Mm-hmm.
is good. This is definitely good. This has blessed me. I know that it is definitely blessing the community on this evening.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, do you have any words for our community? Any last remarks for our community before we get ready and sign off?
As we go and we transition into the last 30 days of this year, make an alternate reality. Bend the current reality and establish a new normal. Remember who you are. And if you've lost your way, just tap back in to your source and recenter, reestablish, and create balance. And remember that you can face anything that is coming your way.
Mm, yes. Again,
That's it.
um, TC community, oh my goodness, wasn't this a good one on this evening, y'all? Definitely. I want you to show LaRon some love in the chat. Let's thank him for coming out, blessing us
Oh,
again. Yeah,
you.
yes, blessing us for sharing his awesome words of wisdom. Um, and you know what? We're glad that you stumbled upon the job that you did stumble upon. Okay. Yes.
Ah,
Because you know what? It was a blessing. And so you was able to come. Yeah. So we gotta tap back in. We gotta tap back in.
yeah,
Said
yeah.
powerful, there. We're
Aw,
thanking you for your words. Thanking you,
aw,
for coming on. Because it
aw.
was look, we like to give flowers and show appreciation to our
I feel it.
guests. So
I feel it. I feel it.
yes,
That was powerful. Thank you
yes.
for allowing me to be in your space.
Oh no, thank you. Thank you. Again, TC community, I will see you guys next Wednesday. We're always here every Wednesday, each and every Wednesday. Every week, I will bring you a guest, someone who is definitely real, relatable, and who is relevant. Because on the conversation, this is a space where we have open, candid discussions and we talk about our journeys. And our journeys are to help someone else along their journey. So,
Yes.
again, always remember to show the world who you are and don't allow the world to tell you who you are. So, I'll see you guys again next week. And if you are not a member of the TC community, you can definitely become a member by liking the show, share the show, and make a comment. And if you are not connected with me, connect with me on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. So again, I'll see you next week and y'all have a blessed evening.
Bye bye.